10,000. The number has truly gotten bigger. It wasn't even 4.5 months ago that I was celebrating 100 subscribers, and now we're at, 100? Just squared. Thank you so much for helping me get to this milestone. It's honestly amazing that I managed to get this far while balancing a high school schedule. I figured when I started making proper videos back in December, that was gonna take a good 4 to 5 months to get even my first 10,000 view video, let alone at 10,000 subscribers. But I got 10k on a video in only 2 weeks, and 10k on the channel in less than 4 months. Thank you to everyone who inspired me to start pursuing this more last year, and especially everyone who's been watching since the old TV screen recordings. All 8 of you, most of which I know IRL. But this isn't necessarily a video on the history of the channel. I'll probably make that later and post it on the main channel. This is a Q&A to celebrate hitting 10k. So let's get on to the questions. Do you enjoy the new soundtrack they added to FH5? Along that note, do you enjoy the Rally expansion? I'd say the new music is okay. You'd expect me to have more to say about it, but I'm not generally a big metalhead, so I'll probably not be the best person to ask about that. But from what I've seen, and what I've heard rather, it's been alright. When it comes to the Rally expansion, I'm generally a fan. I like the new map, although it is on the smaller side. I like the idea of a Rally-focused expansion, especially the 4 other times Forza released one. And I like that the Rally DLC has more of an actual campaign than the full game. So it's pretty solid. They definitely could have added a few more cars in, and this DLC was a perfect time to reintroduce Lancia. Bit sad we didn't get it, but it's whatever. Deep dish or normal pizza? Deep dish. I gotta keep my oversized figure somehow. Best Need for Speed game? Probably either Need for Speed Underground 2 or Pro Street. No Most Wanted? Yeah, I'm disappointed too. But I'd probably say those two because Underground 2 is the NFS game and maybe even the game period that I put the most time into. Like, I've been playing that since I was literally 2 years old. And Pro Street because if it wasn't for that game, I probably wouldn't have the love for racing and motorsports as a whole that I do today. Would you rather have to non-stop walk from St. Louis, Missouri to What is your opinion on driving simulators, trucking sims, or public transit sims? I haven't played too many of them, so I'd have to do more of that before I can properly form an opinion, but they seem fine to me. What's the research process behind your masterpieces? First, if you think these are masterpieces, you're really gonna like what's coming. Second, I'll probably make a whole video going over how I make my videos at some point in the future, so stay tuned if you're looking for that. And third, depending on the topic that I'm covering, my research process changes a bit. I'll go ahead and talk about each video individually since there's only been 4 up to this point. For the Tokyo Extreme Racer video, it was almost entirely off the cuff. I had a couple notes about key points I wanted to talk about, but outside of that, everything I wanted to talk about was just my genuine experience with the games. I did look up a couple things to make sure I got all my facts straight, but there were still some things wrong. I'm also probably never going to make a video like that without a script again. That was... You can tell that it was 1, first draft, and 2, yeah, it probably could have used more work. For the Decline of Racing Games video, it was somewhat similar, with nearly everything in the video coming from both my experiences and those of my friends that I've played along with on the games. Although I did do some research by looking into what some other people were already saying on the topic, and seeing if I wasn't the only one who felt that way. I also did a minor bit of fact checking for stuff like dates and sales figures. For the Keiichi Tsuchiya video that no one watched, I actually did a lot of research, which generally consisted of watching old racing and TV clips of him, reading through different wikis on him and the series that he raced in, and reading articles about his accomplishments or certain key events. I also watched the video by Albon that had come out a couple months prior to my video. For the Forza video, again most of that was just writing directly from my experience, although I did do a bit of research into the motorsport titles because I have a bit less experience with those. I'd say my next video is going to be more like the Tsuchiya video in terms of research, with my current estimate being at earliest late May to maybe even mid-June. But I'd say it's going to be my best work yet, so keep your eyes peeled. What's your favorite Salmonella Academy video? I'd say either Banana Republic's Terrare or Michael Malloy. I'll go with Banana Republic's. Who got you to start liking cars, or did you do that yourself? I'd say, to an extent, my entire family is part of the reason I like cars. Technically, the biggest influence would probably be from my dad, who introduced me to the old Need for Speed games, tuning culture, Initial D, Ken Block, and rode me around in a car that he had got tuned up when I was as young as 3. But just about everyone in my family has very good car knowledge, especially when it comes to like repairs and fixing them up and that kind of thing. My mom has worked in both parts stores and as a part-time mechanic, so she's quite knowledgeable about fixing cars. My stepdad actually has a significant background in racing, as he used to run local dirt tracks across the southeast back when he was around my age. But I already had my love for cars long before my mom met him.
Would you rather have unlimited bacon, but no more games? Or games, unlimited games, and no games?
Games. If you could have any car in real life but couldn't sell it, what car would you pick? It can be from a game. Either the Lancer Evo 3, an E46 M3, or a 2000s Toyota Century. When more music? I'm hoping to maybe put some original or cover music in the next video, but knowing how long that takes to produce, it might be a bit. But there'll probably be something from me coming out this year, and when it does, it'll be on a new channel. What's the worst holiday in your opinion, and why? In all honesty, probably Halloween, but only after I got too old to go trick-or-treating. Because there's basically no kids that live on my street, no one's trick-or-treating at my house, so outside of going with my little sister, I really don't have much to do for Halloween anymore. I guess I might set out some decent decorations this year, I don't know. Do you just play racing games, or do you tend to enjoy other games? I enjoyed a large number of games, but I would say the majority genre of those games is racing. As you might be able to guess from my name, I am and basically always have been a big fan of Minecraft, and have been playing that since 2013, 2014. Granted, I haven't played it as much in the last 4 years, but I have started getting back into it in just the last couple. I also play some platformers like Crash Bandicoot and Sonic. I enjoy a good RPG every now and then like Chrono Trigger, Undertale, or Earthbound. And I play a surprising number of Dragon Ball Z games, although I don't play many fighting games in general. How did you manage from what seemed like out of nowhere start posting good quality content? Okay, it wasn't necessarily out of nowhere, but I guess I'll explain. See, I've wanted to be a YouTuber for years. The earliest I can recall watching YouTube was back in 2009, when I was only about 4 years old. And by 2011, I was a regular viewer. In 2012, I started really having a keen interest in YouTube because I was attracted to the biggest game at the time, which was Minecraft, like everyone else at that time. I watched all the Let's Plays and checked out all the mods and loved the game. Only problem being, I didn't own the game. But that changed in 2014, when I went into a GameStop and finally bought Minecraft on the 360, and I loved playing that game. If I was truly honest with myself, I'd probably say that was the best version of Minecraft I ever played, and maybe even the best game I have ever played. Whether it was the nostalgia and lack of responsibilities of that time or not, that was still the most fun I ever had with a video game. And in and around the time this enjoyment was hitting its peak, I started looking into other types of content on YouTube. Eventually, this led me to more informative and well-produced content of all kinds, whether it be informative and educational content about history and the laws of space, or edgy takedown content like the earliest Content Cops. This kind of content gave me a better appreciation of the amount of work that goes into a video like that. So in late 2015, I recorded and posted my first ever video, which was about 10 minutes of me playing Minecraft. If I can find the footage, I'll use some of it here. Of course, a 144p video of a 10-year-old playing Minecraft recorded on a TV with zero editing and not even a thumbnail, it went practically nowhere. Then, almost immediately after this, I made the account known as FastMiner07, where for a time I did upload more phone recordings of gameplay, just with it propped up with maybe some Legos or some books facing the TV. Although now, it was expanded from Minecraft to include my other favorites, particularly racing games, which I started many series for, and I only ever completed one of them, my series on Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2. You can probably guess why that was my first game I decided to cover in what I'd call my modern era. Although my style didn't change much at the time, my watching habits did. I started really getting into content that was more critical, more analytical, and to an extent more edgy. Notable examples of which being channels like Pyrocynical, Emperor Lemon, and Internet Historian. These videos gave a better idea of both the kinds of content I truly enjoyed, as well as the jokes, timing, and editing that I still enjoy to this day. In 2018, I started actually beginning to edit my videos, with my first ever edit being a JonTron edit about the state of YouTube at the time, which somehow is still really relevant today. Then around the middle of 2018, my uploads slowed greatly. I used to get about one video out every 2 to 3 weeks, now they were coming out every 2 to 3 months. I guess maybe I was just losing interest and finding out it's more difficult to make it on YouTube than it seems, so I didn't put as much effort in. But then, after my 2019 Christmas break from school, I got an assignment where I was given a choice between making a paperboard poster for a presentation or making a 5-minute video on said presentation. And remembering that my mom's laptop had Windows Movie Maker, I decided to give it a try. My classmates and teachers loved the video, and at the time I was very proud of it. Now, it doesn't look like much, but that goes to show you how far I've come. And by the end of its first month, it was on about 40 views, which was unheard of for me at the time. So when I got another opportunity just a couple months later for something very similar, I took it, which resulted in the James Brown video on my channel. Even though it doesn't match up to my current work, I am still very proud of this video because it's the strongest way to show how I got to where I am now. Then I started uploading again, and that lasted for about another year, and then nothing. From August 14th, 2021 to September 15th, 2022, not a single video came out on my channel. But that doesn't mean I wasn't busy. At the end of 2021, I was tasked with making another video for a school project. After completing it and seeing the reaction from the class, I realized I still had it and immediately started looking at how I could make my videos better. But I ran into an immediate roadblock. I didn't have the equipment, and I wouldn't for another 9 months. But after working a summer job, I finally saved up and built my own PC, and downloaded a proper editing software and got to work. After making an announcement video saying that I was back, I started working on a cover that I had planned to use in my next video. I'm also a fairly active musician and producer, and that video would eventually become The Art of Toge, which I expected might get 100 views at most. In the first 3 days, it got 20 views. By the end of the week, it was on 2,000, and by the time the next video released, it was on 27,000. And that next video was the reason most of you are watching this now, because that video, after only 4 weeks of work, has been viewed about 1.1 million times. In that time, I went from 86 subscribers to 8,600 in less than 2 months, and it even been recognized by some of my inspirations and peers in the racing game space. So, if you wanted to know how I got to make what I do now, that's how. Well, thank you all for your questions, and thank you again for getting me to the big 10K. Hopefully it won't be too much longer, we'll be reaching for the big 100K. Also, if you want to see something I've worked on recently, I actually helped out one of my friends, Dove7, with editing one of his newest videos, so I'll leave a link to that at the end. But before that, I want to show you a little premiere for the next video, and see what y'all think. Enjoy. When you see this car, who do you think of? For some, this person is unmistakable. For those that don't know him, this is Kenneth Paul Block, known professionally as Ken Block, and he's probably one of the most influential people for anything on wheels.